Good afternoon, all. Just checking in, touching base with you, as promised, to kind of keep you posted of when and what I have planted. It is March the 19th, and we are in Central Alabama. We're in Zone 8, and so far we have planted beets and cabbage. Just leaving off, we had planted the onions and carrots in the last update, but we have now planted beets and carrots, and then I planted some beets and carrots more in our raised bed that's not actually in the ground, so I will also keep you posted on how that goes. We planted kohlrabi in the ground, and then I have planted several things in trays. I keep up with mine like this. I just take, since these packets have information on them, I just put the date that I planted and where I planted it, and then I have access to my package in case I need further information. So I have planted my cucumber, squash, zucchini in trays, and I'm waiting for those. The cucumber have started to sprout and the babies are coming up out of the dirt. The beets and collards that we planted earlier are starting to show, and our onions are growing fantastic. And then I've also planted the herbs in trays to give them some time to sprout before our estimated last frost, which is the second week in April. Thyme, parsley we have planted, mint and basil and lavender in the tray, and then also in the raised bed I have planted lavender. And speaking of nice pretty flowers that the lavender makes, I have planted flowers throughout, which we will probably do in a separate video, and I'll just kind of tell you what flowers I plant with what. We try to companion plant flowers for pollination, and then also just so that our garden is pretty. So I hope it all works out this year and makes a beautiful garden. I have planted garlic in my raised bed, and it is also doing well. The onions are doing well in both raised bed and in the ground this year. I'm about to fertilize those with some nitrogen fertilizer. They're at the point right before they start busting out and getting round, and that's when you want to do that. And I may do a video just on onions later, just to kind of give you a history of how that has gone. We planted more potatoes right before the storm. So as a lot of you know, we had this storm come through on Saturday evening. We did not have a lot of damage. We had some really crazy wind and a tree across the road, but no damage to our home. So we feel very blessed with that. So we have planted the potatoes right before then, and then I've also planted more beets. The first round of beets I planted in the ground in the 1st of February, late January. I planted more in the raised bed when we planted the raised bed. And I will go over the raised bed in another video just to kind of give you a diagram of how we ended up planting that. I have edamame or soybean planted in trays, hopefully to give it a start, and then I'm going to put that on the string runners. I'm super excited. I hope I haven't waited too late, but I could have. We will just have to see about that. I have planted in trays Aunt Molly's ground cherries. It's kind of a fruit similar to a sweet tomato, and it also spreads, and it's a perennial. It will come back next year, so I'm happy about that. I hope that works out. I will put those, transplant those to the garden when they're ready. I also am waiting on some heirloom scarlet runner beans to come up in trays, and then I will put those on the string runners too. And with that, this was on like March the 12th. I planted in trays some heirloom tomatoes that are super good for, they're medium to large tomato, and they're good. They're really pretty, but they also taste really good. It's sweet and zesty and will be good with for diced tomatoes, or also for sauces. I planted in trays, they're called pepper chili. They're called pepper chili chalaca, and they are a purple pepper that is hot, but it also has a really good smoky flavor to it. And I will, it's really good for sauces too. So in the hotter sauces, I hope to be able to use this. Isn't that not a beautiful pepper? So I will show you when it gets time. And those start producing. I planted some large bell peppers. We like to do stuffed bell peppers, and they're also good to dice and have for seasoning. So I planted some of those, and then of course along with the cucumber and the zucchini and summer squash, I planted spaghetti squash, and I will transplant all of those to the garden when it is time. I just this last weekend planted some crimson sweet watermelon in trays, and some other watermelon. I was trying to think the other name. It's a sweet watermelon too, and a seedless. One is seeded and one is seedless. So I'm waiting for those to come up. And then, of course, in the last video, you heard about the trees that I'm trying to root, and that it's pretty busy time right now up potting the vegetables that I planted in the beginning. So that is how it is going so far for us. The babies are growing great. I started fertilizing the tomatoes and peppers once they got out of the ground good. I know some people recommend that, some people don't, but it has worked very, very well for me. So I just wanted to let you know that, and I hope this helps you in your garden journey. Just know, like, it can go many different ways for many different reasons. Don't get discouraged. Continue to garden. It's so much fun, and it's so beneficial. And I hope that's something that you hear in this channel, and maybe even this video, will help you out. So I hope you all have a good afternoon. I plan to.